Hello and welcome back, my dear hookers. Okay, so I have come outside now and I'm hoping I've got this set up beautifully. You'll have to let me know if it isn't. But this day was just calling me. And as you can see, I got my nails done. So I did that and then immediately decided, you know what, today is just too glorious. I have to be outside. So I decided to join my husband, who has been working like mad since I started my first video this morning. And I had to be outside. So here we are. I am at the end of this round, the yellow round, but I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the purple round. And I thought that every 5 would be a really nice color change. So I'm going to now go on to my green and get rid of the purple for 10 technically, 10 of these rounds. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm just going to fiddle with my camera just a little bit here, and I will be right back. We'll get that started. Okay, so here we go. Now, I did not bring my scissors out, so I'm going to do something that I don't very often do. I'm going to actually have to, and knock my green all onto the ground. I'm going to have to break that yarn, and I normally cut it because I don't like breaking it like that, but you know what? Needs must. So here we are, and as you can see, this is coming together really, really nicely. I'm loving how it looks. I'm loving my corners. I'm loving everything about it. But as you can see, I now need to start, and I'm going to get this one going. And as you can see, I can actually take it from the middle. So now that I'm outside, it's not going to roll all over the ground, although it has already, and I've got a bit of leaf stuff on it. Hubby and I have not cleaned up from the winter mulch yet, so we like to leave the leaves out all winter so that it kind of protects everything. Now, normally I would say, do your slip knot. No, we're going to change colors, but we are going to change it so that it doesn't leave any harsh things going. A lot of people tie their yarn. I don't. I find that by making any extra knots, it creates a roughness. And little ones don't need rough. They need soft, they need cozy, they need all of the other stuff that babies need. But cozy is always best. And by knotting yarns, you get roughness that you don't need. So what I'm going to do, and I'm having a tough time seeing my camera lens, so if I do this wrong, you'll have to let me know. The sun is just so bright and so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to do my single crochet to join. So there is the top of my standing double. Whoopsie, let me show you that again. So here's my standing double, getting into the top, getting both of the V's of my standing double. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the new one and create my single crochet. Okay, I'm going to give that yellow a bit of a tug, bring it to the front, and now I'm just going to grab the yarn end, the ball end of my green, and I'm going to I'm just going to bring it through to lock it. Now you'll know that that's kind of a chain stitch, and that's fine. The only time I do that chain stitch is when I'm starting the new ball. Okay, so now I've got to turn it over, and you can see here is my corner. Okay, and I'm going to try to bring this up as close as possible, and you can barely see where the purple has been brought up from row to row to row. You can barely see that. And that's what you want, okay? And this way you have minimal ends. I've got one, I've got two, it's on the other side. I've got this one, and now I've got this one to start. Whereas a lot of people will actually have an end on each row. I don't like that because that's way too many ends for me to do. So now I'm going to start this. I'm going to create my single crochet. I'm going to chain 3 and single crochet. And then I'm exactly the same as I was doing with the purple, I'm now doing with the green. And as you can see, now the green actually does, because again, it's the same tone as the other two we've been using. It's just a different color now, but we've still got that same pastel-y tone. And so again, it works really well with the other two colors we've already started. And again, it just gives that bit of pop to it. And we can now continue with, oops, this new color. So for as many colors as you want to do, if you really want to change colors for every one of these rounds, be my guest. Again, that will be a lot of ends to either bring forward or to have tied off. That's why I decided to do 5 and 5. So at the end of 5 rounds of this, excuse me, I will then change back to the purple. And I figure that way I've got enough of both to make it uniform, to make it look like that's what I was supposed to do. And now I have a lovely blanket for babies that has some color for them to play with as they get older. I've actually had people come back to me with some of my very, very first, and this is why, here's where I really like the type, because you've got that almost looks like a flower at the very center. And when I'm done, I might actually show you guys how to create a nice little flower that baby can play with, or that mom can have, showing especially on little baby bums. You know, baby bums are just the cutest things in the whole wide world. And so if you have a little flower at the bottom of the blanket, or a little bow or a balloon or something extra. What I have found with my crocheting is that, yeah, everybody loves what I do, but everybody loves what everybody else crochets too. So what I try to do is I try to give a little twist to everything I make. Instead of just, goodness, why are you being so difficult? There we go. Instead of just doing a plain blanket, there's nothing wrong with that, but everybody has those. Everybody has the ripples. Everybody has the granny blankets. Everybody has the round blankets. But you need to find a way to make it so that it's different. It's something new that people haven't seen before. And this, I find that sometimes putting little appliques on, or putting little balloons on. My personal favorite is balloons, because all little ones like balloons, and most parents like balloons. I've met a few that don't, so that's fine too, to each their own. But honestly, the best way to do this is find what works for you. If putting little roses on the corners of things, or bows and buttons and all of that, just be careful and remember that if you are going to make a baby blanket with buttons, make sure that they're nice big buttons, there we go. Big buttons that babies can't swallow, or make sure that they're attached well enough that baby can't take them off, because babies have a tendency to pull things and worry things. And then, of course, what do they do with those things once they get them off is they put them in their mouths. And like I said, I do have some moms who've come back to me and said, you know, my little one has loved this blanket so much, they're still using it. Josh is still using his to a certain extent. His baby blanket that I made him, that one that to me is so full of mistakes, but it was made with love. So even though it is a lot of mistakes, it's all good. So yeah. So really this is the only thing that we had different from the very, very first. So keep going with your blanket or your squares, depending on how many squares you want to make to put them together. I do promise that we are going to start putting squares together soon. I do have to make sure that I've got enough of the same size of squares that I can actually show you how to put them together. I will show you how to use my favorite ways to do them, and then my not so favorite ways to do them. Probably my least favorite way is the whip stitch. Although my mom does one that's almost invisible-ish. So we will get to that. I do want to make a few more granny squares first. And like I said, I do want to get this blanket made, and maybe a couple of more. I've got some really, really pretty patterns that aren't too complex, much like this one, that you can sit here for a weekend and get a baby blanket done, even in this itty bitty yarn. Of course, as always, the smaller your yarn is, oh my ball has just made a mess of itself yet again. Let's just fix that, shall we? And again, all I'm doing is to fix this one. This is not one I've made with my ball maker, my yarn winder. It's just one that I had made and started and then just kept going, because it was before I actually had my yarn winder, my wooden one. But yeah, so let me know where you're at with this. I shall come back and do the third one when it's all finished so that you can see how it turned out. But as you can see, as we're chatting here, I'm just stitching away. So this is one of those ones that you can have conversations with people. You can, as long as they don't mind it that you don't look at them, you can sit and do this for hours. Have conversations with people, watch movies, have cuddle time with hubby, that sort of thing. Okay, so we're coming back on that last corner again. As you can see, I almost lost my ball. As you can see, there's my purple. I don't want it anymore, so I'm just going to leave it down there. There's the start to my green. I don't want that either, so I'm going to put it down there. And get down there, you. There we go. And I've got to finish this off now, so I've got to do my single crochet. So I'm going to come to my center. I'm going to do my single crochet. I'm going to chain one, yarn over, put through, yarn over, pull through. So that's that very first single crochet we made. Then I'm going to put that to the front. I'm going to come back to my yellow and I'm going to pull through. Okay. Now I'm going to pull it up, do the twist, put through that gap there, pull through two, and then I'm going to tuck the green at the back. Okay, and again, you're going to see that, but when I start making my other double crochets, it's going to disappear within them, and that's what we want to have happen. Okay, so again, you know, you can see that there is a little bit of the purple that does peek through, but it's not substantial, right? It's designed to actually just kind of fade into the yellow. So that there's one that I did pull the purple up and there's one that I didn't. Yes, you can see that difference. Yes, it's there. Oh, I did pull it up a little bit, but that's okay. I did it by mistake. But it's fine, you know, and you're not going to see, if you take a look at this is the right side because we've got the everything all in a uniform direction here. So this is the right side of the blanket and you can't see really my corners all that much. And that is because we've hidden everything. We don't do the initial chain 3. We do the standing double. We don't have ends poking out everywhere. I mean, you can see them, like I said, but they're so minimal that it's really easy to miss them. And again, my corners are now so uniform that you can't tell where I started and where I didn't. So that's the idea of being a master hooker, although I don't think anybody can really ever become a master hooker. I think that you just keep learning as you go along. So keep going with your blanket, with your granny squares, whichever you're going to make with this. And in the next video, we're also going to be doing a rectangular one so you can see how the rectangular ones work. And they are a lot of fun too. So don't worry about that. We'll get this done. I will come back for a third video to, it looks like we're going to get some rain here. Just when I'm coming outside, I'm very unhappy about that. But that's okay. I can stay out for probably another half an hour and work. So just when you think, great, it's the perfect size, measure it. A baby blanket has to be at least 36 by 36 inches. And I'm sorry, I don't have my measuring tape out here, so I cannot... I can't tell you what that is in centimeters. But again, I promise I will do 2 very short videos. One showing blanket sizes from the Lovey all the way up to the Super King. And I will also do one showing the crochet hooks and what the difference is in the sizing and so on and so forth. So just bear with me. I promise I will get those done soon. And I will also have, if you're interested, email me because I will also have the crochet size charts to download for you if you're interested. That will be just because I can, and we'll go from there. And then as we get further into patterns and so on and so forth, we're actually going to start to learn how to read patterns. So if you are somebody who is just a video person and show me how to do it, let me do it while you're showing me, then that's fine. If a lot of you already know how to read patterns, that's fine too. And for those of you who want to learn how to read a pattern, we'll get there as well. Okay, I've got some lovely patterns that are now out of print. They're now public domain, so we can use one of those, and it's all. I know this is part two to part two, but good morning, my dear hookers. So I had done the change for color, and I thought, you know what, life kind of got in the way. You'll have to forgive me. My puppy is down here playing with a bone. And she's making loads of noise, but she's just so darn cute. I don't care. So anyway, this is what it's looking like so far. I know I had done the color change really quickly, so that's at the beginning of this. And in that time frame, I have done a ton of gardening. And as you can see, my poor brand spanking new manicure that I had before is now not a brand spanking new manicure. So I will have to do my nails again. But I'm sure that my lovely hookers that you are can put up with a nasty manicure for just a little while. Anyway, so I know I'm not done the blanket, but I thought I would let you see exactly how everything is all coming together. So this portion of the video is just going to be very, very, very super short. And then when I finally do get it the way I want it done, I'm going to, I guess I can work on it while we're chatting. I'm going to, we're going to start on a new project. But before we do that, I am going to finish this, but we're also going to do a border for it. And I thought, I'm hoping I have enough of the green and the purple, that what I can do is now put a lovely little, just a plain Jane single crochet border, and show you how to make sure that your single crochet border lies flat. I have a blanket that I made quite some time ago with just one of those great big huge Karen cake kind of balls, and it was massive. But when I did the single crochet, did the single crochet border, I messed up on it. And by the time I realized I had messed up on it, I had finished the whole darn thing. And I hated it. So that's okay. That's okay. So I left it as is. And I've had a couple of people that have been looking at it. And one of these days, if it doesn't go in the next, next season or so, it'll go into my donation bin. So that I have a donation bin every so often that I put together for the people at the, it's called Lacouta Lodge, and they are anywhere from, and it's an assisted living home, so it's everywhere from people who are just heading into a home because their home is just getting too much for them, too much work for them, all the way into people like my grandmother, who has dementia, and really cannot be allowed out on her own. So they've got all that different level and all the different levels of security in between. But I have found that, especially in small towns like this, when people end up in these homes, they don't get a lot of visitors. So what I do is I take a lot of my stuff that hasn't sold for 2 years or even 3. One moment. Sorry, I'm definitely not caffeinated enough yet this morning. But when they've been shut in for, or when I haven't sold my blankets for 2 or even 3 seasons, what I do is I pack up a bunch of them and a couple of my shawls, and I go down there and I have a visit with a number of the elderly people that live in those homes. All I can think of is I can't visit my grandmother because I live 600 miles away from her, and it's a bit much for a day drive. For a weekend drive, we're doing it for their 100th birthday, or for her 100th birthday. But I miss my grandmother terribly miss her. And the thought of nobody visiting her, and I know that a lot of people visit her. My mom and dad are down there still. My aunt is down there still. So my family does visit her. It's just I can't. And I miss her so much. And some of the stories that I've heard from some of these ladies and gentlemen that I have visited have been amazing. Our little town here, the little itty bitty town that I live in, is full of so much history. And when they find out whose place I live on, they tell me so many stories, which is why sometimes when I take you guys out for tours, I haven't done that for a bit, and I should probably do that again now that everything is very green. We've had so much rain and sun that everything is just gorgeous. My husband is not very happy because we have a plethora of dandelions, and being born and raised in the city, he's not used to seeing the dandelions like this, and so he wants to get out there and pluck them and spray them and all of that, and I just go, no, bees. So yeah, so we have a plethora of dandelions. We will have an amazing amount of clover this year. I'm trying to get it so that our lawn is taken over by clover. It is just a wondrous thing. I love Penny. What are you doing over there, dear? But clover is just a wonderful thing to have in your yard. And our yard is a big one. It is 2.5 acres of yards. And the reason I haven't posted a whole lot of videos is, and I will try to remember at the beginning of all of this to post a few videos or pictures of our newest addition to our little acreage. We got chickens so that we can have farm fresh eggs. We don't have a lot because we only have a total of 7 people living on the property. But I do miss my farm fresh eggs. I miss my garden. I miss my farm fresh eggs. So I got my garden all planted. It's very small. It's a climbing garden, I grew up with a garden probably the size of my acreage, where literally every Saturday was spent hoeing the garden. And don't tell my mother, but I really enjoyed those Saturday mornings, in the smell of the earth, hoeing the garden, picking out the weeds, and eventually picking fresh peas and fresh carrots and eating them as I hoed. It literally took, it was an 8-hour project. There was no rest for the wicked on a Saturday. It was every Saturday we had to, I'm pretty sure I spent at least 4 or 5 hours every Saturday hoeing. But regardless, anyway, back to stitching. So what I'm going to do on this little blanket is I am going to make just a simple single crochet border. That will be the beginning of our borders. But because I don't want what happened to that blanket, that I digressed so far off of the topic, what I don't want to happen to that, I don't want that blanket to happen to this blanket. There we go. Like I said, not enough coffee this morning. I was up at the crack of stupid this morning again, because now that our sun is coming up at 3:30 in the morning, my eyes want to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and it takes everything I have to keep them shut. And using a face mask, a lot of people will say, well, use an eye mask, then you won't have to worry about the light. No, those have never, ever worked for me. I've tried to use them so many times over the years, and I don't sleep at all. I don't sleep at all. And so anyway, sorry, my puppy is coming. One moment. Okay, I'm back. She just needed a little loving. Anyway, like I said, what happened to that blanket was the single crochet border kind of pulls everything in just a little bit, so you end up with this kind of bunchy look to it, and I don't like it. However, I did find literally right after I made the blanket, I found a little secret and asked my mom how to combat that. And she says, well, how do you make your granny squares? And I said, this. And she said, well, just do the same thing with your single crochet border. So I'm like, oh, I can do that. So what you do with a single crochet border, easy peasy lemon squeezy, is you turn your work every round. And what that does is that ensures that it gives you a nice flat border instead of a curvy border. And I will try to remember to bring that blanket in when I do the border for this blanket, so that I can show you what I mean by that. But anyway, for now, like I said, I just wanted to do a secondary quick video to go with the one that I'm putting this onto, just to show you how this is looking. And with all the comments on this, I woke up this morning And I have 212 subscribers. I'm just blown away by that. Thank you so much to everybody for all of your amazing comments, even the ones that aren't pleasant to see. I won't even lie. Constructive criticism is hard. It doesn't matter how good or how bad you are. Constructive criticism is hard. And here's a little life learning lesson. Constructive criticism, if given from the right place in your heart, can be a wonderful thing. Okay? So here's my constructive criticism to myself. Whilst I'm stitching, I need to stop, go slow down, because I have a tendency to go whoosh and think that everybody can keep up with me. So from now on, I'm going to do my dead level best to show each stage of everything and make sure that people who are new to this can follow along. But I'm already 10 minutes into chatting and yakking away. So here is how it's looking. Now, what I am going to be doing, because this is going to be, let's just measure this. I get, it looks like I'm getting about 5.5 inches. Oops, let's just do this. There we go. From color change to color change. And I always go a little bit low. Okay, so it looks like it's about 5.5 inches. Looks like it's maybe closer to, 5.75, but 5.5 inches per color. So for every color, that's 11 inches. That should be 11 from color to color. 11.5, close enough. And then I'm at the end of the color again here. You can see I've done there we go. You can see I've actually done, come on over. There we go. The yellow on this side, but not on this side yet. This is the last side of the round. So after 3 color changes, or 3 colors, I have 16.5 inches. And, you can't see that. Wait, there we go. There. I lied to you. I have 17.5 inches. Apparently, I have definitely not had enough coffee. So 17.5 inches. And I want this thing to be 36 inches. So I am just about halfway there. And like I said, I still have a fair amount of purple. This is 2 full rounds of purple. And I have a fair amount of green. I didn't bring the green downstairs with me this morning, but that's okay. That's quite all right. You guys know that I've got the green. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to have to end up doing at least 2 more rounds of the purple and at least 2 more rounds of the green. Now, I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll actually just end on the green, and we'll see what sizing that's going to give me. And we'll go from there. And then I'll come back and do the 3rd video for the border for this. And I just need to know, do you guys like so here is the question of the day. I'm going to try to remember to do this with every new project. Question of the day that I would like to see in the comments. Do you all want, my dear hookers, do you want me to continue on the Granny Square series, or would you like to head into the blanket series? Now, I'm going to do I don't know if I can do this or not, but I'm going to try to put together, excuse me, I'm going to try to put together a tutorial on how to do graph gowns. It will be a basic tutorial just to get you started. To do the actual graph gown, I'm going to have to work out some new setups for my video stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try my hardest. And that way I can show you the blanket that I want to make. However, I did get another special order, and I'll show you the yarn I ordered. It's cashmere. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so great to work with. I'm so excited. But the question of the day in the comments below, can you please let me know whether you like my Granny Square series? I have probably at least, without even looking, 12 more granny squares that we can work with that are increasingly difficult with each granny square. I've got a daisy granny square. I've got a 3D granny square. I've got actually several of those. I've got a sunburst granny square, I think it's called. There's the alpine granny square. And then they just get progressively harder than that. Now, the 3D granny squares, they're fine. They sound so much harder than they are. They're not. I promise. Again, if you can check out my tutorials on chains, single crochets, double crochets, and I think that's it that you need in the 3D granny squares. You might need a treble, not 100% sure. And in those granny squares, we will be learning the popcorn stitch, we'll be learning the puff stitch, and we'll be learning the bead stitch, I believe. I've also got one for. So let me know if you want me to continue my granny square series. Please, comments below. And I know that you guys have said so many comments, and thank you for all of the comments, good and bad. I don't care. Constructive criticism is always a good thing. Excuse me, goodness. So much pollen right now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, and also maybe just let me know if you want me to take you on another walk around. Things are just gorgeous. We're going to be having loads of Saskatoons this year, so you will definitely get a walk around for that. I have some pictures of some gorgeous local flowers and gorgeous local weeds. The fireweed isn't up just yet, but it is going to be. A lot of old timers call it a ticking time bomb, and I'll tell you why in another video. But for right now, I've already gone 16 minutes into a video that I promised myself was only going to be 5, but I've gone 16 minutes into a video, and I will leave you here. I will bid you adieu. Have a wonderful day. Remember, be kind to yourself. My name is Sherry, and I am addicted to yarn.